Hey cats, it's your midsole man EDDBUD here. Oh, that max cushion feeling, keep hitting my head on the ceiling. Bit of Lionel Richie there for you. Are your current running shoes leaving you feeling like you're lacking bounce? Are you looking for a shoe that leaves you feeling like you're floating on air? In today's video, I'm putting some of the latest max cushion shoes up against each other in an all-out battle. Which of those new foam technologies really do deliver on the promise of maximum cushion, helping you to figure out which one might be the right pair for your running journey? But first up, why would you need a max cushion shoe anyway? I think if you're running like 5 or 10 Ks here and there, maybe you're running 2 or 3 times a week, I really don't think you need one. Most people can probably get away with some daily running shoes for that. Just, you know, grab one pair for everything. I think the great thing about max cushion shoes right now though is the weight has come down. I can remember a few years ago you did have some max cushion models, but they were all very, very heavy. Brands like Brooks, ASICS and Nike have been able to produce much lighter models, though still featuring the now obligatory 40mm of stack. So today, looking at a whole range of different shoes, a couple from Nike, the VOMERO Plus and the VOMERO Premium. From ASICS, the SUPERBLAST 2 and the recently released MEGABLAST. A couple from Brooks too, the Brooks Ghost Max 3 and the GLYCERIN Max. So something that I hear often from viewers is that they want a max cushion shoe, but they find a lot of them very soft and unstable due to that stack height. Some shoes just feel like you're simply sinking into the heel in every step, and believe me, that's not really fun, is it? And running's supposed to be fun. From my perspective, I think one of the best middle of the road type options for that is the Ghost Max from Brooks. Slightly lower in stack. I mean, there's still 40mm there, which until a little while ago was like max cushion itself. This type of shoe feels really good on those easier efforts, perhaps where you're just doing some recovery work, maybe throwing in a little bit of steady paced running. I think there's perhaps a little bit too much heft here for some faster paced stuff, but I think it still suits for the everyday type shoe that you can use. You don't have to save these just for those recoveries. The DNA Loft foam that we've got here in the Ghost Max 3 is very consistent underfoot, a little bit less compressive perhaps, and it doesn't have the high energy return that you could expect, and again the drop is a little bit lower here in this one. So my choice really, if you want some good resilience there, around about that 40mm mark, go for the Brooks Ghost Max 3. There's good kind of balance to this one as well in terms of the weight. It doesn't all feel like it's in the midsole. Doesn't feel like bottom heavy. The GLYCERIN Max is another favourite from Brooks. Not all that much heavier than the Ghost Max 3. I think Brooks are like the biggest selling running brand in America, so that tells you all you need to know. I found that I had about 45mm of stack height here, my pair of the shoes. Don't forget, with running shoe midsoles, the bigger the shoe, the bigger the stack. Otherwise you'd end up with very highly stacked, very small shoes, and that'll be
kind of weird, right?
So there's a little bit more stack here than in the Ghost Max 3, and it's a very compressive foam. There's like 2 foams actually within the midsole of this shoe. It's like an outer shell, which is quite soft, and then a much more aerated foam within the actual shell, though it does lack that significant energy return that everybody keeps talking about in the running shoe world. I think the plush upper here is a little bit more present than the Ghost Max 3, and we've got significant sidewalls around the back of the foot here in the heel. That improves the stability, and again a slightly lower drop in the GLYCERIN Max. I think there's a lot of people out there that don't want a really high drop when you've got a very maximally cushioned shoe like this. I always hate that actually. It just feels completely alien. If you're a heavier built runner and you want the absolute maximum impact protection, the GLYCERIN Max could be a great bet. It's a slightly more reasonable price than some of the other max cushion models out there as well. Quite a few discounts too if you look around. Again, where you've got 2 flavours of max cushion in the Brooks models, you got the same again here with ASICS, the SUPERBLAST 2 and the MEGABLAST. These 2 shoes offer some very wide bases underfoot and some great top level foams as as well. I think the upper on the SUPERBLAST 2 is perhaps a little bit more traditional than what we've got on the MEGABLAST. It's a thinner engineered mesh here. It's very flexible. There's a little bit more structure to the upper here in the SUPERBLAST 2. Different midsole setups as well, despite the fact they're both max cushion shoes. Flight Foam Turbo, and then you've got Flight Foam Blast plus Eco underneath, and the new Flight Foam Turbo Squared. I found that this was an incredibly versatile shoe. It handled a range of paces very, very well. Though it did take a little bit of braking. I found that I needed sort of 30 to 40 miles before it really hit the high notes. Not perhaps what I would suggest is the ultimate option for like 5k effort or higher. Nice controlled bounce in the shoe. It's not the softest out there, but it has exceptional impact protection. Certainly when you take into account the weight. Much, much lighter than the Brooks models. Loads of people mentioned to me in the comments that they've got loads of really great miles and kilometres out of the SUPERBLAST 2. It's been one of their favourites over the last couple of years. The MEGABLAST though is a slightly lighter implementation of what this shoe's trying to achieve. It's certainly softer across the footbed and feels wonderful straight out the box, no braking miles needed. It feels to me like the MEGABLAST foam here is a slightly softer, perhaps more durable version of Flight Foam Turbo. Doesn't need that extra layer underneath to protect the foam from the surfaces that you're running on. Thus ASICS have been able to lower the weight of this shoe. There's less glue, different materials, fewer points of failure as well. So SUPERBLAST 2 a little bit more stable due to the increased size of the sidewalls here. The MEGABLAST perhaps feels a little bit less guided, a little bit more fun and kind of unleashed, I suppose. I found it actually handles slightly faster paces a little bit better than the SUPERBLAST 2. Both of these though feel great when you're running at like marathon or half marathon effort. Neither are really geared up to run sort of 5 or 10k races. I think it's just too much shoe here for that. Don't forget you're a good 45 millimeters off the ground, or at least you are in my size of the shoes. A lot of stack here. If I had to pick one between the two, I'd probably err towards the MEGABLAST this time round. It does everything this one does, but it's a little bit lighter. Similar ride, less heft, and we appear to have great durability so far. Nike are in the game as well in terms of max cushion. I noted this morning that 2 separate colourways of this shoe released, and I think all the largest sizes of this colourway have sold out. You've still got the lower sizes, around 6 or 7. There's a green version as well, and that's all gone pretty much. When we're talking max cushion though, I think people are really enjoying the VOMERO Plus. If you're a lighter built runner, it's got lots of cushion and energy return, and it doesn't have that heft that you have in the VOMERO Premium. I think if you are a heavier built runner and you just don't have the bank balance to afford the premium, go for the VOMERO 18. That's a more consistent sort of compression there. If you don't really need the energy return and you just want all-out impact protection, the VOMERO 18 will probably do the job. It just lacks that energy return due to the implementation of the REACT-X foam in there. The premium, after more miles of testing, has softened up a little bit. I think it's that cage of ZoomX that you've got around the air units here. It's just starting to flex a little bit. Let's not forget that you've got 2 materials, or at least 2 technologies in here that are giving you highest level of energy return you're going to get. I mean, the energy return in the air zoom units that you've got here is huge. That's why they include it in the AlphaFly 3. But of course, they are heavier than the foam itself, so you can't always have it both ways. I think for me, the VOMERO lineup is certainly aimed at that sort of cruising pace. They're not shoes to run fast in. If you want max cushion, you know, to save the legs, save the muscles, then that's their intention. But again, it's down to the runner's needs. The lighter built runners will probably do better off in the VOMERO Plus. If you want some big stack but without the weight, then the Plus will do it. I'm hearing from a number of viewers that the VOMERO Premium is working out very well for them. Many of them are heavier built runners who are probably taking more advantage of the technologies that we've got here in the midsole. They're perhaps compressing the foam and the air units a little bit more, getting a little bit more energy return out of it. What are your thoughts on max cushion shoes? Do they work for you? Or do you prefer the lower stacks regardless of the actual protection that you've got here? Let me know your favourites down in the comments. Quick musical interlude for you. I've been having a real renaissance into Neil Young's archive, mainly the archive volume 3. There's a great album on there which is the original takes of I think it was like an unreleased, until recently, album called Hitchhiker. On there, Neil plays some acoustic versions of some tracks that we probably know better for electric representations. Stuff like Powderfinger, for example. His voice sounds so good during this period. It's really clear and really pure, and the guitar playing's great as well. Even though these are like almost demos, I suppose, there's a beautiful track on there called Give Me Strength. I think most of my guitar collection really is built around, you know, my guitar heroes. I've got an SG because I love Angus Young. I've got a Gretsch because I really like Brian Setzer. And I'm quite lucky enough to own that HD28 that you've seen in the intros to some of the recent videos. And you can hear that Martin acoustic guitar sound on all of this album. Go and check it out. It's called Hitchhiker from the Neil Young Archives. Thanks for tuning in, people. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up like. Drop us a comment as well to help with the algorithm. And pick up some merch as well. The link's below. My name's EDDBUD and I'll be seeing you